सच्चे पिता अपने पाक बख्शिश करके सत संगत ਦੀਆਂ ਘੜੀਆਂ ਬਖਸ਼ੀਆਂ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਸਾਈਬਰ ਸੰਗਤ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਪ ਆਪਣੇ ਉਦਮ ਅਨੁਸਾਰ ਸੰਗਤਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਕੱਤਰ ਕਰਕੇ ਲਿਆਇਓ। ਆਪ ਸੰਗਤਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਗੁਰੂ ਅਨੁਸਾਰ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਆਗਿਆ ਬਖਸ਼ੋ ਜੀ ਤੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਸੇਧ ਦੇ ਕੇ ਗੁਰਮਤਿ ਵਿਚਾਰ ਨੂੰ ਸੰਪੂਰਨਤਾ ਵੱਲ ਲਿਜਾਇਓ। ਸਹੀ ਪਿਆਰੇ ਮੇਲੋ ਜੀ, ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਮਿਲਿਆ ਆਪ ਜੀ ਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਚਿਤਿਆਵੇ, ਨਾਨਕ ਨਾਮ ਚੜ੍ਹਦੀ ਕਲਾ
ਤੇਰੇ ਭਾਣੇ
ਸਰਬਤ
ਕਾ ਭਲਾ ਜੀ।
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।
ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। Haji Vaisakhi Khalsa, Vaisakhi Fateh Ji. This is Ravinder Singh connecting with you from Columbus, Ohio. Welcome again to another session of Khoj Gurbani discussions. Very quickly, before we get started, let me just remind ourselves of our goals. One, to engage Sikhs globally, to come together as Sangat to discuss Gurbani as an integral part of our daily lives. And second, to create a crowdsourced commentary and translation expressed in contemporary idiom. In other words, we are trying to create resources here through our discussions that will enable any Sikh that is willing or wanting to engage with Guru Granth Sahib with educational resources. We are also mindful that we need to follow certain guidelines as we go through these discussions. And I want to, since a lot of you already have heard me go through these every time, and I don't hear anybody who's new, again, we need to just be frank and honest, but not disrespectful or antagonistic. We should agree to disagree without being disagreeable. We should keep our responses brief, trying to limit ourselves to 2 minutes at a time. And the other ask is to please share personal perspectives, not to be shy of sharing personal experiences, perspectives, no matter how odd they might seem. It is always good to be out there. So with that said, we began a discussion on the first Pauri of the Japji Sahib last Saturday. And we had some discussion around what the central idea or the central message or the essence of this Pauri was. And I think the Sangat was in agreement that Kiv Sachiara Hoiya, Kiv Kuda Tutte Pal, Hukam Rajai Chalana, Nanak Likhya Nal was the central message here, because this is in the form of a Pauri, and typically Pauris, the message is usually in the last lines. We also had some discussion around the fact of whether or not Guru Nanak, who's obviously observing or commenting on prevailing religious rituals, if you will, practices, if you will, or processes that were prevalent in his time. I think we went around discussing whether or not he was being, was he condemning them? Was he simply exercising a cautionary note? What exactly was his intent here, although we cannot second guess him, but that's where we left our discussion. What we wanted to do, what the Sangat wishes to do, and which is what we will do today, is to actually start off with a line-by-line discussion of the same Pauri. So in other words, we are going to start with Soche Sochna Ho Gayi, and then look at its literal meaning first. Akhri arth jade ne, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੇਖਣਾ, and then we will follow up with ਜਿਹੜੇ ਅੰਤਰੀਵ ਭਾਵ ਨੇ, you know, the spirit of the message. Then we will go to the spirit of the message. So first we want to actually just read out the line, try and understand it at the level of semantics as to what it means. Then we go around and talk about what might the spirit behind this be, and then we'll see where the conversation takes us. With that said, are there any questions? Okay, very good. Should we then start off by reading the Pauri again? I suggest that we do. So let's all try and read it out together, ताकि सारा मन थोड़ा स्थिर होवे, एकाग्र होवे, and centered होवे around this Pauri. So with that, let's start. सोचे सोच न होवई, जे सोची लखवार, चुप चुप न होई, जे ਲਾਏ ਰਹਾ ਲਿਵਤਾਰ ਭੁਖਿਆਂ ਭੁਖ ਨਾ ਉਤਰੀ ਜੇ ਬੰਨਾ ਪੁਰੀਆਂ ਪਾਰ ਸਹਿਸ ਸਿਆਣਪਾਂ ਲੱਖ ਹੋਇ ਤਾਂ ਇੱਕ ਨ ਚੱਲੈ ਨਾਲ ਕਿਵ ਸਚਿਆਰਾ ਹੋਈਐ ਕਿਵ ਕੂੜੇ ਫਟੇ ਪਾਰ ਹੁਕਮ ਰਜਾਈ ਚਲਣਾ ਨਾਨਕ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਨਾਲ ਹਾਂਜੀ so let me start with Veer ji in Amritsar Gurdeep Singh Veer ji ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਤੁਕ ਪੜ੍ਹ ਕੇ ਤੇ ਇਹਦੇ ਆਖਰੀ ਅਰਥ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦੱਸ ਦਿਓ in English preferably so that we can go through the Sangat with the following lines that follow.
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ ਸੋਚੈ ਸੋਚ ਨਾ ਹੋਵੇ ਜੇ ਸੋਚੀ ਲਖਵਾਰ the means we are if I take bath or clean body a number of times even then the cleaning of mind or cleaning of soul does not take place. I think these are the in short meanings.
ठीक है जी so what you are saying is कि ritual bathing will not clean the mind no matter how many times we bathe our body.
Right.
ठीक है जी ਵੀਰ ਜੀ ਚਰਨ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੂਸਰੀ ਤੁਕ ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਜਾਓਗੇ
ਦੂਸਰੀ ਤੁਕ ਚੁੱਪੇ ਚੁੱਪ ਨਾ ਹੋਵੇ ਜੇ ਲਾਏ ਰਹਾ ਲਿਵਤਾਰ
ਹਾਂਜੀ
ਮੇਰੇ ਹਿਸਾਬ ਨਾਲ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਇਹਦੇ ਆਖਰੀ ਅਰਥ ਨੇ ਕਿ even if we try to silence the inner chattering it's of no use like we may
Veer ji we lost you were you done or
Vijay, we can't hear you, Charan Singh Vij.
I'm hearing two sounds, one after the other, so it's pretty confusing.
Okay, Ravinder Singh ji, can you mute when I think it's coming from your side? If you can mute when you're not speaking.
ਨਹੀਂ ਹਰਵਿੰਦਰ ਵੀਰ ਜੀ ਜਦੋਂ ਗੁਰਦੀਪ ਵੀਰ ਜੀ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤਸਰ ਵਾਲੇ ਵੀ ਬੋਲੇ ਸੀ ਉਦੋਂ ਵੀ there were two voices ji.
ਹਾਂਜੀ how is it looking now? Is it better this time?
ਨਹੀਂ ਪਿੱਛੋਂ ਸਾਰੀ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਆ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ ਜੀ are you done it's the third time it's repeated.
Okay, is it still coming or are you able to hear me?
It is coming. Let me go back and I'll log in again.
Okay ji.
You can go ahead and let me come back.
Okay ji. Ravinder Singh ji.
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਹਰਵਿੰਦਰ ਹੋਰ ਕੌਣ ਹੈਗਾ ਪੈਨਲ ਦੇ ਉੱਤੇ
ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਜੀ ਗੁਰਦੀਪ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ from Montreal, ਸੰਧੂ ਜੀ and ਚਾਵਲਾ ਜੀ
ਅੱਛਾ ਦਿਲਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਵੀ ਹੈਗਾ
ਹਾਂਜੀ
Dilpreet Singh ji, do you want to take the next line? Pukhya Pukhna Utri Asi. I don't know if you heard what we are trying to do. Pehlo akhri arth asi dekhne ne.
ਹਾਂਜੀ
ਉਹ ਜਲਦੀ ਆਖਰੀ ਅਰਥਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਰ ਲਈਏ ਫਿਰ ਅੱਗੇ ਚੱਲਾਂਗੇ so do you want to take ਹਾਂਜੀ
ਹਾਂਜੀ can you hear me now?
Yes we can.
ਹਾਂਜੀ the ਭੁੱਖਿਆ ਭੁੱਖ ਨਾ ਉਤਰੀ ਜੇ ਬੰਨਾ ਪੂਰੀਆਂ ਪਾਰ right. The way I see this is that all these lines are related to our mind, and this line is saying that the greediness which we have in our mind will not go away even if we have everything available for us. Then also the greediness of our mind is not going to go away.
ठीक है जी, thank you. Can I reach out to Gurpreet Singh ji in Montreal to go with Seh Sianapa Lakh Hoye? ਤਾਇਕ ਨਾ ਚੱਲੇ ਨਾਲ
ਅੰਕਲ ਅੰਕਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮਿਊਟ ਹੈਗੇ ਹੋ ਗੁਰਦੀਪ ਜੀ ਗੁਰਦੀਪ ਸਿੰਘ ਹਾਂਜੀ
Is it okay now?
ਹਾਂਜੀ
Okay, we may feel, we may have a lot of wisdom, the worldly wisdom. We may be very clever, but nothing will help us at the other end. Nothing will go with us except the Naam. So then nothing will help us on the other world when we leave this world. So this is what how I understand. We may be clever, we may be very well educated, we may have so much wisdom, worldly wisdom, except our inner soul has that kind of a wisdom which will help us in the next world. Thank you.
ठीक है जी, thank you. So let me go back to Veer ji, Charan Singh ji. Can you hear us properly now, ji, Veer ji?
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine. The problem was at my end. I think there were two running commentaries, so that's how. Sorry about that.
कोई नहीं, अपने end ਤੇ ਹੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ problem generally.
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ Okay, ਚੁੱਪੇ ਚੁੱਪ ਨਾ ਹੋਵੇ ਜੇ ਲਾਏ ਰਹਾਂ ਲਿਵਤਾਰ. If I go back to the same, to me, ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸੋਚ ਹੈ, to me it's the thought. So there is a chattering of mind going on constantly inside the human mind, and we cannot stop it. That's precisely what ਚੁੱਪੇ ਚੁੱਪ ਨਾ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਲਾਏ ਰਹਾਂ ਲਿਵਤਾਰ. Despite my best effort to concentrate, the chattering continues. That's all I wanted to say on that.
ठीक है जी, thank you. So let's come down to the last two lines, which I want somebody to take on together. किव सचियारा होई है, किव कूड़े टुट्टे पाल, हुक्म रजाई चलना नानक लिखिया नाल. ਵੀਰ ਜੀ ਚਾਵਲਾ ਵੀਰ ਜੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹਦੇ ਤੇ ਥੋੜੀ ਵਿਆਖਿਆ ਕਰੋਗੇ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਅਖਰੀ ਅਰਥਾਂ ਤੇ?
ਸ਼ਿਓ ਵੀਰ ਜੀ, ਵਾਹਿ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿ ਫਤਿਹ ਜੀ.
ਹਾਂਜੀ,
that is किव सचियारा होई है कि कूड़े टूटे पाल.
ਹਾਂਜੀ
जी, that how can truth be attained and the will of falsehood on Nanak say by submission to the divine order which is preordained.
ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਜੀ. So ਜੀ ਇਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ we have actually taken our first round at doing the sort of word meanings, the semantics of the letters, and let me just very quickly recap what we think we are saying here. What we are saying is ritual bathing, external silences, greediness or avarice, being skillful or clever. All of these practices or all of these
I think we lost Ravinder Singh ji. Ravinder Singh ji, you there? I think
We can't hear him.
we lost him. Charan Singh ji, can you summarize for us like what we learned so far?
ਮੈਂ ਪਹਿਲੀ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਸੰਗਤਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਇਹੀ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਕਰਾਂਗਾ ਕਿ ਪਿਛਲੀ ਵਾਰੀ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਆਖਰੀ ਹਰ ਇੱਕ ਆਪਣਾ ਆਪਣਾ ਪਰਸਪੈਕਟਿਵ, everybody should jot down their perspective below this video presentation where we have the comment section, and we should share with each other because it's a evolving process. So with each other's participation we'll come to know more of that. I have submitted my take on that, and to me this entire body reflects upon the thought process. The mind is always in a chatting mode. There is a thought origin, sustenance, and regeneration of thoughts, and through those three processes one reflects upon it. One vicharda hai us cheez nu. Thinking originates in a reflective manner, in an insightful manner. So aa jehde चार phases ne thought de, Guru Nanak Pasha ne is body de vich he has brought a universality to all the humans who are born are bound to have the thought process, and this thought process cannot be controlled in any way. That's how I'm taking on it. And despite our best intelligence, despite our all knowledges, all our wisdom, we cannot control the origin, sustenance, and reorigination, and some residual that emerges, some thought that emerges from this process. So this process has a universal applicability. One, two, this process is not controllable, and three, this process has a tinge of the truthfulness. So Guru Nanak, as a researcher, as a in a general way, ask the question, so if this all is in a process, how can one become truthful? So that's the challenge part of this whole body. And then Guru Nanak answers that Hukam Rajai Chalna, that's the key part. It is an answered question. We try to give a different perspective on this question. No, it is an answered question in the form Hukum Rajai Chalna. To understand what the Hukum Rajai means, that's the crux of the whole Gurbani.
Thank you, Ji. Ravinder Singh, are you back?
I'm back.
I think others can take lead on that.
Did you hear me at all, or did I lose you guys? I was suggesting that
we hear you first. Yes. Yeah, we heard you for like first 3 lines, and then you cut off him.
Okay, so I was suggesting that we ought to take up, because there were questions from the Sangat, the larger Sangat, on the words soch, whether this means the thinking process or whether this means the ritual bathing that is common in India. So I was going to open up the discussion to that. Is the Sangat agreeable that we should take that on? Before we come to the crux, before we come to the crux of the issue, should we take up that line on a second pass?
Hanji, I think that would be a good idea, because I think that's common.
Yes.
We see from Pai Veer Singh and Pai Sahib Singh.
And we don't have to spend too much time, but I think we ought to sort of understand what's being said, what the different views are on it. We may not resolve the issue. It may not be a resolvable issue. So, Veer ji, Gurdeep Singh ji, Amritsar, tusi shuru karoge is discussion no?
So, the meaning of soch and soche. And soch word has come number of times in Gurbani. And नावो तो वो तिलक चढ़ावो सुच बिन सोच न हुई. So here in this context, the meaning of, to make this mean, to understand this mean as thinking, I think is not appropriate. And this was one example, and there are so many others also which so to my understanding, this soch here means that is piety, that is that is some sort of purification or cleaning.
Acha ji, theek hai, thank you. Charan Singh Veer ji, do you want to comment on that?
Vijay, when we look at the universality of this body for everyone, the Nana could be a process more familiar with those in the Indian continent. But when we take the universality, it is the bathing which everyone experiences through the thoughts. Even Nana in itself is a thought which one experiences. So I would still, there are several body references. I have given one in my write-up also. So it's both ways. We should evaluate more from the mental perspective, which is the thought process, rather than taking the physical part. Thank you.
Theek hai ji. Thank you. Dilpreet Singh ji?
I think I feel that thinking is not there. The first, because in the 4th line, when we say Sahsyanpa lakho ta ikna challe naal, that is kind of pointing to the thinking process, and the first line is pointing towards the bathing because it was the most popular thing people used to. The Tirath Ishnan was the most popular thing there. So, and that being the most popular thing comes first. And again, this word soch has been used with the similar meaning in multiple places in the Gurbani, like Kaho Nanak Sach Thiyaiya, Such Hove Ta Sach Paiya, and like Soch Kare Dinas Ar Raat, Man Ki Mail Na Tante Jaat. So, in many places, wherever this word comes as per Vyakran, everywhere it means bathing and Tirath Ishnan only.
ठीक है जी हाँ जी गुरप्रीत सिंह जी मॉन्ट्रियल ਤੁਹਾਡਾ perspective ਕੀ ਹੈ
Hanji, I agree with both these meanings these scholars have brought up, but here I think is with the silence, because the next line when chup na howe, so chup goes with the silence, with the thinking process. Soch is the thoughts, thinking. First you start thinking, but with thinking, the second part even say you cannot be silent because our mind cannot be silent even though we are doing something else but thinking something else. So I relate this more with the thinking process rather than the bathing. But though the bathing is also looks good because on the other references, yes. But here I think I relate to with the thinking process. Soch.
ठीक है जी थैंक यू हाँ जी चावला भी जी
विजय सोच है इट इज लाइक जो है वो तीरथ इश्नान एंड सुच इज प्योरिटी एंड ਆਸਾ ਜੀ ਦੀ ਵਾਰ ਔਰ ਸੁਖਮਨੀ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਨਾਨਕ ਸੱਚ ਤੇ ਆਈਏ ਸੁਚ ਹੋਵੇ ਤਾਂ ਸੱਚ ਪਾਈਏ ਦੈਨ ਸੁਖਮਨੀ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਅੰਗ 265 ਤੇ ਸੋਚ ਕਰੇ ਦਿਨ ਰਾਤ ਮਨ ਕੀ ਮੈਲ ਨਾ ਤਨ ਤੇ ਜਾ
ठीक है जी so what we've heard here is essentially the point that there are two views, two perspectives, and I think both are being bolstered with quotations from Gurbani. Harvinder Singh ji, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੁਝ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਹੈ?
I think from my point of ਮੈਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਦੋਨੋਂ ਠੀਕ ਲੱਗਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਨੇ I agree with both of them but somehow ਸੋਚਣ ਨਾਲ I like more ਕਿ ਸੋਚਣ ਨਾਲ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਦੀ ਸਮਝ ਨਹੀਂ ਆ ਸਕਦੀ so I go with ਸੋਚਣ ਨਾਲ but bathing is also I think with in that time frame when Guru Nanak Dev Ji was writing this thing and it was so prevalent कि जगह जगह नहान नाल तीर्थ स्नान नाल so it may be referred there but I find both equally acceptable.
ठीक है जी I just wanted to add that from what little I know
I think we lost him.
Anji, I think we lost Ravinder Singh ji again. So I think we can go back to Gurdeep Singh ji, Montreal. If you want to give any perspective on the whole body.
Yeah, but okay, I agree with you. The same I related with thinking, thought process, because the next line is chup. If we talk about bathing, then we have to quote Gurbani from other places. Says, "Navan chale tirthi, man khote tan chor, ik paw lathi natya, do paw chadiya sahor." So that's very clearly the bathing, ritual bathing, where is not acceptable in Gursikhi. But that's very clearly mentioned there. But here, because the next line is chup na chup na hove, the soch is related to be chup. Because when we are quiet or we are thinking, but when we are thinking, unless we are concentrating on naam, on one word, otherwise our mind will never be controlled. It will keep on thinking about other things. So over the nutshell, I say Guruji said first our problem. what we want in our life and how we can attain that. We cannot attain with worldly efforts, no matter how much money we have. Je banna puriyan par means how much wealth we have, how much we are thinking, how much we are trying, how much we are doing our ritual. Nothing will be fruitful except when you accept His will. But how to accept His will, it's not easy again. We need a strength for that. Gurbani se tera bhana tu hai manaye, jisnu hoye dayala. Again we get back to the grace, that kirpa which we discussed before. So unless we get that grace of the Guru, we cannot accept his order because we have no strength. We have moved around with the force of Maya. Now whole process in Guru Granth Sahib further will explain us how to get rid of this Maya, what's Maya, and how we can attain this Kudepal or this falsehood, this materialistic world, how can we attain the truth. Truth means the name of God. Anyway, thank you very much. This is what I feel out of this point.
Thank you very much. I think Ravinder Singh ji back.
Haji, again, I'm not sure where I got cut off, but what I was trying to say in a nutshell was this, that regardless of what Soch and Such might mean, and it seems like you could support it either way, the crux of this whole Pauri is the last two lines. And I think here Guru Nanak is really raising for us the essential purpose of life. Jivan da manorath, ਇਹ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸਮਝਾ ਰਹੇ ਨੇ ਥੇ ਔਰ ਉਹ ਹੈ ਸਚਿਆਰ ਹੋਣਾ. So for us, it seems to me, the thing to really understand is, what does being a satyara mean? What is this Kurdipal that he's talking about? And then eventually, what does he mean by hukum? And what does he mean by rajai? And what again does he mean by Nanak likhya nal? I think these are the sort of foundational concepts that we need to put our hands around and try to understand. And that was just my thought. And I think if the Sangat is amenable, perhaps we ought to start a discussion around the last two lines.
Hanji, I think Bilkul, last time I think we discussed the same thing, that we want to go to the Kud. Exactly what is Kud? Is it only Maya or is more than that? Then what is Satyar, and then what is Hukam? And before we go that side, is all other three lines are clear to every, like chupe chup na hove? I think so. Other except Soche, there's no other. I see that everyone have the same viewpoint, correct?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, so then Ravinder Singh ji, then we can start with the, I think.
So let's start with the second to the last line, and let's start with Kiv Satyara Ho Ye. So Satyara, I think that is the concept we need to understand. What does it mean to be a Satyara? And let's try and explain that in our own words as to what you think being a Satyara is. So I'll start again with Gurdeep Singh Virji in Amritsar. Virji, see jara kick off karo Satyara the discussion.
Satyara word, this Satyara is like Luhar, Luhyar, Sunyar. I mean, it's R is an ending with the word such. And so how this means, Satyara means how we are related with such. What is our relation with, I mean, the dealings with such. One who deals with such, or truthfulness. This is what I feel is the meaning of Satyara.
Okay, ji, we'll come back again to this. I have a question or two, but before we do that, Charan Singh Virji, do you have a perspective? I'm sure you do on Satyara.
From my perspective, Guru Nanak has not emphasized knowing the truth, but practicing the truth. Satyara is the one who is a practitioner of truth. So, to me, Satyara is very profound in knowing the difference between the two binary pair of opposites. सच है, झूठ है, right है, wrong है, दिन है, रात है. These are pair of two binary pair of opposites. And to be able to discriminate what is the right and then practice that righteousness, that is what Satyara means to me. Thanks.
Thank you, Ji. Hanji, Dilpreet Singh Ji.
Anji, I think that when we in the starting of Japji Sahib, we had all the guns of Vaheguru have been described. So I am thinking that this is related to that how we can attain all those guns, and all those guns, instead of repeating them, one word has been used. How can we be Satyara? So that includes that how can all the guns which are there in our Mool Mantar, I think it is a combination of all of that.
ठीक है जी. Hanji, Gurpreet Singh Ji, Montreal.
हाँ जी, गुरदीप सिंह जी मेरा नाम.
I'm sorry, Ji.
Keeps it there are two, like before the VD said, the two opposite things. One is Kudiyar, other one is Satyar. Gurbani says, Kudiyar Kudi Jair le, Satyar Sikh Bethe Satgur Pass. So this is like the sun rays, which are very much close to the sun. They have all those attributes which sun has, but you cannot call the sun rays a sun. The similar way, the Satyar Sikh is very much close to the Guru. He is getting rid of the Maya, the illusion, but he's not yet Guru. Once he will get into the Sach, which is truth or which is the Purk, then he will become part of the Guru. Surya Kiran mili, Jal ka Jal hua Ram, Jyoti Jyot mili, Sampuran thiya Ram. So it's very much close to the Sampuranta, but it's not that the Sampuranta. This is how I feel. Kudiyar is exactly opposite. So Gurbani has mentioned many places, Satyar and Kudiyar. Thank you, Ji. Sat Sri Akal.
Thank you, Ji. Hanji, Chawla Ji.
Vijay Satyara is a walk on the path of truth and become a follower of truth and break the wall of lies and that is keep kure tutte pal. Then Guru Nanak Pasha jo hai, he answer hukum rajai chalana Nanak likhya naal. The Satyar like ਜਿਵੇਂ Guru Granth Sahib ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ truth has been exclusively emphasized. It says the truth is evergreen, never turns old or obsolete. सच्चों उरे सबको ऊपर सच आचार ਤੇ ਹੋਰ ਵੀ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਸੱਚ ਸਭਨਾ ਹੋਏ दारू ਪਾਪ ਕੱਢੇ ਧੋਏ ਸੱਚੇ ਮਾਰਗ ਚਲਦੇ ਆ ਉਸਤਤ ਕਰੇ ਜਹਾਨ ਜੀ ਵਿੱਚ
ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਜੀ. ਹਾਂਜੀ, ਹਰਵਿੰਦਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਜੀ.
I think I agree with what Gurdeep ji just said, but I have more questions than from my point of view. I think Satyara means like the basic, like how we can attain all the properties, or when we say that we will through the Guru we will meet the Vaiguru. So Guru ਨਾਲ ਮਿਲ ਕੇ ਅਸੀਂ Vaiguru ਨੂੰ ਮਿਲ ਜਾਵਾਂਗੇ. So we will attain all those properties so that we will get out of the Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Ahankar that we consider code. We will come to, I think, after this one that, and then ਸਾਡੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਾਰੀ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਅੱਛੀ properties ਕਿਵੇਂ ਆ ਜਾਣਗੀਆਂ. But then I have a question back to what I think Charanjit Singh said ਕਿ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪਰਖ ਹੋ ਜਾਏਗੀ to differentiate between the Satyara and Kudiyara. Then how is that? Because in ਚੌਥੀ line they were saying ਸੈਨ ਸਿਆਣਪਾ. ਅਗਰ ਸਿਆਣਪਾ ਬੰਦੇ ਨੂੰ ਆ ਜਾਂਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ then he or she can easily differentiate between Kudiyar and Satyar. ਜਦ ਆਪਾਂ ਸਿਆਣਪਾ ਨੂੰ negate ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਆ, then how are we relating that to Satyara? So this is my question to the panel.
ठीक है, thank you, Harvinder. Let's hold off on that question. It's a very valid question. Let me do a quick round. What what we've heard here is that Satyara really refers to deal the attributes or the gun, as we say, of Vaheguru. And the other was the analogy to being like the rays of the sun. And I think all of them, I think, encompass the term Satyara. And it seems to me that the sub-Satyara is, I want to actually bring up Harvinder's question, which is ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਪਾਸੇ ਸਿਆਣਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਨਿਖੇਧ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ, yet on the other hand, ਸਿਆਣਪਾਂ gives us the discrimination necessary. So I'll throw this out to the Sangat and ask them that question. Is there a contradiction in terms here? Hanji, Gurdeep Singh ji in Amritsar, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਰੋਗੇ ਜੀ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ?
The power of distinction that has been given to us, that's a gift, analytical mind, and that is not really Sianap here means Chutaraiya. That means we should be able to discriminate between the two words. I am not finding the equivalent for Chaturai in English, and the power of distinction, that is analysis. So Guru Nanak has always encouraged us to develop the power of analysis and use this discriminating power to analyze between truths and falsehoods, to analyze between a true guru and a false guru. So to that extent, but once we submit to the guru, once we come to the conclusion that then there is no further need for this analytical mind. You have to wholly and thoroughly submit to the guru, and whatever he says, you have to follow. This is what I feel how we should utilize this thing.
ठीक है जी. Thank you, Veer ji. Anji Charan Singh Veer ji.
Anji, the most interesting part is that the answer for this question is right in the next Pangti, where it says, Hukum Rajai Chalna Nanak Likhya Nale. The hukum has been written along, and that hukum is Maharaj Odi Ustad vich kehndे ne ohi buddh viveka hai, ohi discriminating intellect hai, which is attached along. This Pauri, in fact, is a contrast between the Manmukh and the Gurmukh way. Whenever it is the Manmukh way, one remains absorbed in the thoughts, one tries to do the silence of the chattering mind, one tries the Manmukh way of handling the Chaturaiya, the intelligence. However, the second portion is the dwelling of the Naam, the dwelling of the Gurmukhe Naam that can be accomplished. Connecting with that Naam, one exemplifies, one demonstrates all those attributes which are, I agree with the Sandhuvirji, that those attributes which we have read in the first body, those are demonstrated by the human when one becomes connected with the ਨਾਲ ਚਲਦੇ ਹੋਏ ਹੁਕਮ ਨੂੰ ਪਛਾਣਨਾ, ਨਾਲ ਚਲਦੇ ਹੋਏ ਹੁਕਮ ਦਾ companion ਬਣ ਜਾਣ ਨਾਲ, once we become companion of the Naam, the discriminating intellect emerges as the grace part of it rather than the manmukh part of it, which constitutes more towards the thought process. And intelligence and rational and emotions, these are all, to my understanding, part of the thought process, and that's how I label half of the body as a manmukh and half of the body as a gurmukh, and it's a combination of two. Being gurmukhe, all the things are manifested and one becomes a satyara. That's precisely I would like to say.
Thank you, Ji. Anji Dilpreet.
I think I would like to stick to the first one here. Syanpa is linked to Chaturaiya, and it is linked to the false knowledge. It is not linked to the good understanding or the complete knowledge which Gurbani is. It is, I think, talking about the false knowledge or Chaturanga.
Okay. Do you want to elaborate on false knowledge and true knowledge?
See, on other side, right, we all say that Gurbani is Gyan. The way I take this is that Hukam Rajai Chalana, what is Hukam? Because we need to touch that topic. Hukam is the real understanding of God or what God is. So that is what I call as the Gurbani, the Gyan, because that is what is going to lead us, and it is going to make us a better human being, and it will guide us, because Kabir Sahib says, "Kaho Kabir मैं सो गुर पाया जाका नाम विवेक." So विवेक बुद्ध ही साडा गुरु है as per Kabir Sahib, and then Shabad Guru Surat Tund Chela. So this knowledge is our guru, but that knowledge is the hukam is again the knowledge, and the true meaning of hukam is the true understanding of Bible.
Thank you, Ji. Hanji, Montreal, Gurdeep Ji.
Hanji, I have the similar feeling what other scholars have said, but we have both interact. One is how to know what's good or what's bad. Everything is in our subconscious. Whenever we want to do any bad act, there's a message coming from inside from our mind. Hey man, don't do this. This is not right for you. But we get overpowered with the illusion, with the Maya. We still do it. That's our Sangat, that's our Chatrai. But when we are thinking of Naam, or more we are going towards Gurus, Gurbani, then our other power, which forbids us not to do the action, becomes more stronger than the one which say, okay, no man, doesn't matter, everybody does the similar thing, just to collect Maya, collect money, this and that. We lie, we do some cleverness, so we are cheating. So that kind of thing can be vanished only when we get the Vivek Buddhi, as the other scholar said. We have one is Buddhi, which is brain activity only, one is Vivek Buddhi, which is intellect, which is more powerful than our brain. So once we get to that realm of the intellect media, then we get the strength. Otherwise, we will be still in the clutches of the Maya. So it's a hard, but it's a process how to get from Maya, from the gravity of Maya into the gravity of the God. Thank you, Ji.
Anji, thank you, Ji. Anji Chawla Veer Ji.
Syanap is Chaturanya, and that once we submit ourselves to Vaheguru and its hukam, we will automatically know how to differentiate between what is truth and false, what is good or bad. ਸੋ ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਸੁਖਮਨੀ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸ਼ਲੋਕ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਹੈ, ਤਜੋ ਸਿਆਣਪ ਸੁਜਨੋ ਸਿਮਰੋ ਹਰ ਹਰ ਰਾਏ, ਏਕ ਆਸ ਹਰ ਮਨ ਰਖੋ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੁਖ ਪਰਮ ਪੋ ਜਾਏ.
ठीक है जी, thank you. I see that Harpreet Singh Sangha is with us. Anji, Harpreet Singh ji, do you want to add to this discussion जो चल रही है? Okay, very well. I think we had some interesting observations on Syanpa and Chaturanya. I think it's important for us to really understand what Syanpa and Chaturanya really mean, and whether or not what Guruji is asking us to do is not so much to discard this, because to me it seems like this is cognitive skills or the analytical skills that Veerji was talking about. And you know, the use of the word discriminate, distinction is important, because there's also a third word, discernment. And I seem to think that in our relationship with Vaheguru or with Naam, we actually have to rely on more intuitive and mystical faculties that we have within us. We cannot approach Naam through sheer cognitive or intellect or the intellect. And so it seems to me that what is being asked of us here is to actually begin to exercise and grow this other mystical faculty so that we can actually grasp Nam, and that will bring with it a sense of discernment. But that's my thought on this. I want to open it up now to the Sangat in general, if they wish to ask any question or make any observations related to this Pauri, because we have about 10 or 15 minutes. And I just want to open it up because I don't know that we can go to Hukam today. If there's a feeling that we should start the discussion on Hukam, we will, but let me open it up. Hanji Virji, Amritsar to, what do you think?
Sir, my question is, before going for Hukam, let us discuss more on what is Kood and what is Pal.
Hanji. So should we begin to discuss Kood, or do you have any further observations on what has been said so far?
I think
so about Pal and Kood, what I want to say is that
Viji, before you go to Kood and Pal, jitho tak discussion chali hai, do you want to add anything more to it?
Well, enough is said, but
okay.
Still, this the basic question which was raised by Dilpreet Virji, that there is we could not conclude whether there is a, I mean, दो चीज़ां कहियां गई ना, सच्चाइयां सियानपा and discrimination, and उन्होंने विचों ਉਹਦੀ ਕਲੈਰਿਟੀ, ਐਬਸੋਲੂਟ ਕਲੈਰਿਟੀ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਮਤਲਬ ਸਿਆਣਪ ਖਤਮ ਕਰਨੀ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਯੂਜ਼ ਕਰਨੀ ਹੈ, that absolute clarity to my mind has not come.
Hanji, that is indeed true, and I think that is exactly the process we are on. So let me jump to Veer Charan Singh Ji for any further observations that he may have on the discussion so far before we proceed to Kood Dipal.
Yeah, first of all, I would like to say that Bani confirms Eko Naam Hukam hai. So when we say Hukam, Naam and Hukam are synonymously, interchangeably used terms. So Naam is dwelling along us. That's precisely I want to emphasize again. Ki jeda Naam sade naal hega, when we connect with that, and how we connect with that, that's a separate thing. But for the time being, let's be content with the fact that once we connect with the Naam, which is the Hukam, which is dwelling along with us, then we become Gurmukhe. Then our all thinking is more towards a kind of selflessness. The mind has been transcended at that level where Naam has Pargat ho gaya jadon Naam, Hukam jadon naal sade chalda hoya Hukam Pargat ho gaya. Then once that Naam has manifested, all the deeds, all the actions, all the intelligence is controlled through the Naam, not the mind, which is the Chaturai mind, which is the effort-making mind, which is the thoughtful mind. That's precisely. Thank you.
Thank you, Ji. Anji, Dilpreet Singh Ji, do you have any further observations on the discussion so far?
Right, see, when the way I see this is, first Guru Nanak Dev Ji is condemning the three main practices which were going on, which is like bathing and then chanting, and then he's saying the greediness. And then when we say Sahasyanpa Lakho Ikna Challe Naal, I think he is summarizing it that similarly there might be lot of other rituals which are being practiced and which people might think will make us secure, that all of those other rituals, he is concluding them that there may be a lot of other rituals similar to this, but nothing is going to help. So that is what I mean by when I was referring that the false knowledge, it is that there might be lot of other rituals similar to these three, which were the most popular ones he is condemning. So he is concluding and closing that by saying that none of those rituals are going to help in purifying our mind.
Thank you, Ji. Anji, Gurdeep Singh Ji, Montreal to. Any further thought on the discussion
I would
so
like
far?
to quote one historical fact from Guru Granth Sahib. When Suli Khan attacked Guru Arjan Dev Ji, then the proposal came from the Sikhs. They said we should join him, or we should make an agreement with him. Let us send a letter to him. Then some of the Sikhs said, no, if you don't send a letter, send two people that we gonna send it to him, or we can be in agreement with him. Then finally Guru Arjan Dev Ji said, "Sab kuch chhod main tujhe te aaya." He didn't accept those proposals by the Sikhs. It's mentioned in a clear shabad, Prithme Mata, jo patri chalao, Dutiya Mata, jo mulk pehchao, Tritiya Mata. Guru Sahib ke main sab kuch chhod prabh tumhe te aaya. After that, what happened? Excuse me, my Gurbani may be a little bit here and there not correct, but you can correct it. The intent is that then what happened? Suli Khan went to see those kilns, those ovens for those bricks being burnt by Prithvi Chand, and Suli Khan fell into it and he died. Then Guru Granth Sahib says, Suli Mua, Suli te Narayan Rakh, Suli Mua Hoye Na Pak. So this, I think, should differentiate what is Chatrai, Syanap, and what was his will, what was his hukam, how Guruji showed us the way with this happening, this instance. Thank you, Ji. Sat Sri Akal.
Thank you, Ji. Chawla Ji, you want to add something?
जी विजय like सोचे सोचना होवे चुप्पे चुप ना होवे भुख्या भुख ना उतरी. All these practices are not going to help until unless you know कि like ਅਸੀਂ ਸਚਿਆਰ ਦੇ ਰਸਤੇ ਤੇ till the time we follow the truth, and ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈਗਾ ਕੁੜਿਆਰ ਦਾ ਰਸਤਾ ਛੱਡ ਕੇ we have to come on the path of ਸਚਿਆਰ, that is truth. ਤੇ ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਆਪ ਹੀ ਆਨਸਰ ਦੇ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਹੈ. He answered himself, ਹੁਕਮ ਰਜਾਈ ਚੱਲਣਾ ਨਾਨਕ ਲਿਖਿਆ ਨਾਲ.
Okay, Ji. Thank you. I think we have 10 minutes. I think we are still waiting for Ravinder Singh Ji to join. So I think we can't go to Hukam, but we can first go to Kood and Pal. So I will again start with Gurdeep Singh Ji Amritsar. If you give your version on Kood and Pal, and then we can go take a round from there. Gurdeep Singh Ji Amritsar.
Hanji, Hanji. Food is all illusion. It's around us. I mean, whatever is the this we are living in sort of illusion, and what we have considered that our relations are true. This whatever physically wealth we possess, that is we take it as that is going to last, because what is not going to last, these are the things which are not going to last. So this is all illusion, and that the pal and food, they are related things. That means pal here is a sort of curtain or a illusion that has been we are living under this type of illusion that these things are going to last forever. That is what is to me what is food and pal. And further, and this illusion separates us from our primal source. I mean, that is why it is called a curtain between us, between the truthfulness, between the whatever the qualities of primal source has been described in the Mool Mantar. So to create a distance between him and us, whereas primarily we are part of that great primal source, but because of this illusion we live away from him. That is
Okay.
what is.
Thank you, Ji. We can go to now Charan Singh Ji in Toronto.
I think the cood is our entity. Cood is that entity ਜਿਹੜੀ ਫਿਰ ਜੂਨੀ ਆ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ. That is, to me, that's how I more inclined toward the thought part of it, because every time, every moment ਇੱਕ ਖਿੰਨ ਚ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ personality ਨੂੰ, our entity changes. So whatever is changing, that is the cool part in us, and whatever is stable, a stable piece that is part of us is the such. So cool is the changing part in us, and sat is the sadivi such, the primal such with us, and both dwell along. ਜਿਵੇਂ ਇੱਕ there is a pala, to me, is a playground that has a center line in it, and on one side is one kind of forces, on another side there's another kind of forces, and both play together, and the line which is drawn as a demarcation between the two sides, that is the line. When we dwell on that line, we are the gurmukhe. We can accomplish that norm that dwells along with us. So cool is the changing mind, the wandering mind, and the stable is the norm that dwells along. And of course the separation, cool and pal is the dwelling along in that same pala. I consider it as a playground where both the forces are wrestling with each other. Thank you.
Thank you, Ji. Dilpreet Singh Ji.
And here the word meaning cood is, I think it is waste, and pal is the wall. So if we, in the context of this body, that how we will break that wall, and if we go back, it is all these false beliefs which Guru Nanak Dev Ji is saying that is not going to help us. So how we will break all the wall of all these false belief which is around us, so that we can become Satyar. So that's how I take it.
Thank you, Ji. Gurdeep Singh Ji, Montreal.
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ there's another word for the same thing, ਜਿਉਂ ਬਾਲੂ ਕੀ ਭੀਤ ਵੀ ਦੀਵਾਰ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ, it's a wall also, the same. ਕੂੜੇ ਟੁੱਟੇ ਪਾਲ ਖੂਬ ਤੇਰੋ ਨਾਮ ਝੂਠ ਦੁਨੀ ਗਮਾਨ. So we are in the illusion world, as the other scholar said before. Chut is cool, is the same thing. Other side, the such and the naam is one thing. They are the two sides of the same coin. Naam, sabad, and such. So how to break the wall? The name of game here is to break the false wall which is in between, which is departing us from the truth. So the whole process of Guru Granth Sahib is how to demolish this wall which is in our mind and our body, and is depriving us from the truth, from meeting us God or Guru. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Ji. I think Ravinder Singh Ji back. Ravinder Singh Ji, you want to chime in for Cood and Pal?
I have missed most of the discussion, I'm afraid, but I will just throw in my 2 cents. It seems to me that the literal meaning of the word has been covered by all of us. Whether it is jhoot or whether it is waste. The fact remains that what it's referring to is that there is some sort of a barrier that is preventing us from really either recognizing or living our true, authentic nature. That is how I see it. And the whole exercise here is to be able to really touch your true, authentic nature. So to read Charan Singh's observation earlier, that there is a wandering mind and there is a stable mind. So all of this, we are also embedded in the timeless, but we are also operating in time at the same time. And it seems to me that we need to be able to connect to and recognize ourselves for who we are. That's just my thought on this.
Thank you, Ji. I think so. I just want to go back one more time. So, what exactly the Cood means? Is Cood also include the Kam, Krodh, Loh, Moh, Ahankar, or Cood is something different than all these things?
So can I jump
Yes.
in here?
Yes.
Since you're the moderator now, I can start talking a little bit.
नहीं.
It seems to me that Kood, Veer Charan Singh alluded to this, and I think Gurdeep Singh Virji also. Simply, Kood and such, the distinction between such and Kood within the context of Gurbani is such is that which is unchanging and forever. Kood is the changing reality that we see around us, the dimension that we live in, which is forever. So on the one hand, you have, the Akal Purkh that is forever there, which is true, and that is what. ਝੂਠ ਦਾ ਕੂੜ ਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਹੈ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਬਦਲਦੀ ਰਹਿੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਹਰ ਵੇਲੇ ਮਾਇਆ ਦੇ ਪ੍ਰਭਾਵ ਥੱਲੇ ਆ ਕੇ that is ਕੂੜ. So to your question, everything that we experience within this dimension that we live in is Kood, and that includes calm, growth, all the attributes you talked about. That's how I see it.
So basically, are we saying that anything in Sadgun Roop is Kood?
That's a very interesting twist. Sargun Swarup is not Kood because it has the presence of Naam in it. So nothing in fact is Kood. But to give a perspective on Kood, I would recall Kood Raja, Kood Parja, Kood Sab Sansar, Kood Mandap, Kood Madi, Kood Besanhar, Kis naal kiche dosti, sab jag chalanhar. Whatever is changing, that part only is the Kood. Whereas because the Naam dwells along with the Kood, so we cannot say that that it's Kood per se. But yes, as long as it is changing, it is Kood because that's the only component. Naam has not changed. Once we are connected with the Naam, even the Sargun Swarup is Hasandya, Khalandya, Puri Hove Jugat. That Shabad resonates to me at that time.
हाँ जी मैं बोल सकता हूँ कुछ
हाँ जी बिल्कुल जी
हाँ जी ਇਹ ਕੂੜ ਹੈ ਸੁਪਨਾ ਹੈ ਸਾਰਾ ਸੰਸਾਰ ਜੋ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਰਗਮ ਸਰੂਪ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੈਗੇ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਸੁਖਨੀ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਕਈ ਵਾਰ ਪਸਰਿਓ ਪਾਸਾਰ ਤੇ ਪਰਲੋ ਵੀ ਆ ਸਭ ਦੇ ਪਰਲੋ ਸਭ ਦੇ ਉਤਪਤ ਸਭ ਦੇ ਪਰਲੋ means everything gonna vanish so say that sargan swarup it could be vanished finished completely it had finished many times before after all only nirgun swarup ਰਹਿੰਦਾ so this is my observation nirgun is always ਉਹ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਵੀ ਸੀਗਾ ਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਵੀ ਆ ਤੇ ਅੱਗੇ ਵੀ ਹੋਏਗਾ ਤੇ ਸਰਗਮ ਸਰੂਪ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਈ ਵਾਰ ਬਣਿਆ ਤੇ ਕਈ ਵਾਰ ਫਸਰਿਆ ਤੇ ਕਈ ਵਾਰ ਖਤਮ ਹੋਇਆ तो फिर मुड़ के फिर शुरू हो जाता सारा सिस्टम तो मैनू ये लगता कि निर्गुण दी सारी खेड है अपने आप वो खेल करके ते खेल नू खत्म कर दिंदे जो कि बच्चा खिडौने नाल खेड के ते फिर खिडौने नू बंद करदा जां सुट दिंदा जां कुछ सो दिस माय ऑब्जर्वेशन निर्गुण इज ऑलवेज हमेशा वास्ते सरगुण ते ओदा परछावां है दैट्स हिज रिफ्लेक्शन
हाँ जी हरविंदर सिंह जी we are past our time it's 9:33
हाँ जी
ਸਮੇਂ ਦਾ ਪਾਬੰਦ ਰਹਿਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਸਾਨੂੰ
हाँ जी बिल्कुल तुसी ना फिर समराइज कर दो एंड देन वी विल स्टार्ट सैटरडे तो फिर अपने हुक्म तो शुरू करिए और वी कैन रैप अप और वी कैन गिव वन मोर चांस ऑन सैटरडे ऑन कोड एंड पाल एंड देन गो टू हुक्म
ठीक है जी I think I agree with you we should continue this discussion on Kood and what I would ask the Sangat to do is to actually reflect on what has been said so far and I'm sorry I missed a good bit of this but I think we need to for example to Harvinder's question is Sargun all Kood and if it is Kood because it is changing what should our attitude be towards it in our daily lives I mean I want to constantly ask what does it mean yes it is an ever-changing world and my body is ever-changing my mind is constantly moving does that mean so the real question is how do I relate to this part of me that is constantly changing how do I relate to the part of me that is not changing and what is the relationship between the two and questions of a similar ilk I think we ought to ask and discuss I'll give the Sangat a minute each if they want to make last minute observations. So let's start with Gurdeep Singh Veji in Amritsar and go down the line from there. You have a minute.
I agree. We discuss this in the next time. This and reflect on this.
ठीक है जी. Thank you. Charan Singh Veji.
हाँ जी, सेम स्टेटस जी कि once we are in the company of the Nirgun Swarup, once we are in the company, we are in the constant companionship of Nam, then the change does not affect us, and that should be our goal.
Thank you जी. हाँ जी, Dilpreet Singh जी.
And I think I agree with that. I have that open question from our last discussion, which was asked to me in Gurdwara. I don't know if you want to take that next time. That then Sharovaraj Ishnan Karna at our Gurdwaras, is it okay, or why we do that? And then the Simran also, is it the right path? I don't know if we take it now or we can hold on to this question.
Let's hold on to it. I think Gurdeep Singh Veji from Amritsar and some others made a fairly had answered that question. I thought they spoke in terms of the fact that these were public works, these were public baths, necessary for that time of in history. But we can certainly revisit it at some point. My suggestion would be let's hang on to that question in the parking lot. Let us continue on with this discussion. At an appropriate time, we will bring that question up as well. Hanji Chawla Veer ji. Hanji Montreal Veer ji, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਹੋ?
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਨਿਰਗੁਣ ਸਰੂਪ,
you have a minute.
ਹਾਂਜੀ ਨਿਰਗੁਣ ਸਰੂਪ ਬਾਰੇ ਕਹਾਂਗਾ, ਆਦ ਅਨੀਲ ਅਨਾਦ ਅਨਾਹਤ ਜੁਗ ਜੁਗ ਏਕੋ ਵੇਸ। ਇਹ ਆਪਾਂ ਅੱਗੇ ਪੜਾਂਗੇ ਜਪਜੀ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ।
ਹਾਂਜੀ,
ਇਹ ਨਿਰਗੁਣ ਦੀ ਵਿਆਖਿਆ ਕਿ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਇੱਕ ਰਸ ਇੱਕ ਸਾਰ ਔਰ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਹੀ ਹੈਗਾ ਸੀਗਾ, ਹੋਏਗਾ ਤੇ ਹੋਏਗਾ ਵੀ। ਸੋ ਦੂਜਾ ਪੁਆਇੰਟ ਸਾਡਾ ਨਿਰਗੁਣ ਦਾ, ਨਿਰਗੁਣ ਮੇਰਾ ਜੋ ਬਿਨਸਨਹਾਰ ਹੈ ਇਹ ਨਿਰਗੁਣ ਸਰੂਪ ਹੈ। ਹਾਂਜੀ, ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਜੀ।
ਠੀਕ ਹੈ ਜੀ, a very good discussion. Harvinder, do you want to add anything in the end?
I think it was very good today. So I think we will continue again
Hanji.
last time with the Koor and then move to Hukam in the next session.
Hanji, and I think some of the questions that were raised today, let's not forget them. Hanji. Let's add on to them because they're important in terms of how we live our lives and what does it really mean to be connected to Naam, and what does it mean to understand that this is Koor. So with that said, I will Fateh Parwan Karni from me, and thank you very much for a great session. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.